Hey everyone, it is a new year and that means it's time for another layout update for January 2024. I know I'm ready. You ready, Guido? He's ready. Let's get started. Well, first I want to welcome everybody to the Penn-Reading Industrial Division. For folks who are new, this is a freelance fictional layout or fictional proto-freelance layout-ish, I don't know, something like that along those terms. But however, it is the backstory goes is that the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Reading Railroad, they both combined to create the Penn-Reading Industrial Division, which is a expansion of the Pennsylvania Reading seashore lines from Philadelphia to Reading, Pennsylvania. And so it's primarily a freight railroad, a freight entity, even though it does have passenger operations. And there is a train that runs from Philadelphia to Reading that stops in all the different towns, including Birdsboro, I think Pottsville, I can't remember, Valley Forge, and including the fictional town of Emma. So that is where our story is. It's in the town of Emma. Emma is a fictional town along the main line from Philadelphia to Reading. This is east going towards Philadelphia, and this is west going towards Reading, Pennsylvania. And I do have a new logo made by Amy Penny. She's a phenomenal logo and web designer. She created the logo for this railroad, and that is going to be put on a bunch of different kinds of rolling stock, including passenger cars and freight cars, including box cars, which I'm excited about. So in the coming future, there will be rolling stock that will have the logo and reporting marks of the PRID, which is the Penn-Reading Industrial Division. And so going on with this, this whole layout is 6 feet wide, 14 feet long. It is pretty much your expanded version of a 4x8 piece of plywood, because it is a tabletop, right? And instead of having multiple different vignettes, even though there are vignettes, but I have one location. And the whole location is one fictional town of Emma, Pennsylvania, where both the railroads have the operations. So you have trains coming from Reading, Pennsylvania, and from Philadelphia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and they operate and interchange here in this particular city. And so from there are connections to Harrisburg, to Allentown, and then points west to Williamsport and points east to Philadelphia, which goes from Philly to Camden, New Jersey, which is the Pennsylvania Reading seashore lines, all the way to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and woo, all over the country, right? So that's how this layout came about. The whole collection, as you see here, was entrusted by my friend who passed away. His name is Diaramas. And so this is a continuation of what he started with his original layout, which is called the Allegheny Secondary, which takes place in West Pennsylvania. So this is more of the eastern side of Pennsylvania, which features both of his favorite railroads, the Reading Railroad and the Pennsylvania Railroad. So we're going to talk about Emma, Pennsylvania. And right here, this is a connection. This is going east. This is going east. So from the west end. So this is the staging for cassette for Reading, Pennsylvania, and trains are going eastbound this way towards Philadelphia. Okay, so Reading to Philly, Philly to Reading this way. And we have cassettes on both ends of the layout, which I'll get to. So pretty much the layout is a double main line with a third loop. It's a continuous running operation where the folks come over and run trains. Primarily, that was the point of the layout, was to have folks that come over to run their trains, because in Northwest Arkansas, there are plenty of model railroaders that don't have layouts. And this layout is something where they could come and hang out at least once a month, and we could run our collection. And so I have a double main line here, and this is the Pennsylvania or the Penn-Reading main line, which is double track on this portion of the layout, or at least through Emma, Pennsylvania. And the third loop, even though it is a loop, it is pretty much the lead that goes to the Vine Street Yard, along with the it's pretty much a third track that works all the industries as well. So you have 3 loops, but 2 primarily are the they are the main lines, and the third one is pretty much the lead to the yard or to work your industries. So that way you can run through trains on the main lines while working in industries, and they won't be interfering with each other. So that is the gist of this layout. So we're going to start over here in this section of Emma. This is the industrial park of Emma, Pennsylvania. And like I said here, these are, so when you do an operating session, you have trains coming off the staging from Reading, and they go on to the layout. So let's look at the progress with Emma Cement. So here we have Emma Cement. This is a Walthers, actually a couple of Walthers kit that have been kit bashed by Diaramas, and it holds about 8 cars. You can fit 4 cars, 2 in each track underneath that little covering. And I've been working on the basic scenery. As you can see here, we have some cement spills happening here, some ballast. All the ballast work, the material is Arizona rock and mineral. So there's some really nice details that are going to be happening and some progress already on this scene. The next thing is I do have the windows that are missing, so I need to install those windows. Probably after this video, I'm probably going to work on that building. Also, we do have Boyer Oil. Boyer Oil is actually an actual Boyer Oil company, is located not far from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I don't think it's rail served on the Pennsylvania Railroad, nor it ever been rail served, but I wanted to incorporate a actual real company that's in the state of Pennsylvania. So we have Boyer Oil, and here is the progress started on Boyer Oil with the scenery work. It's going to be a transload facility. It can hold up to probably, again, 4 or 6 tank cars, but you know, you can put a lot in here, so you got a lot of operations happening on the Boyer Oil. Then we have 2 PRID locomotives. That's one of the locals that's working right here. I will be adding Keep Alive in these locomotives, so it'll be nice to run these 2 together. I have a couple of the VO1000s in Reading, and I have just the one S2 in Pennsylvania Railroad. I do have an RS11 Proto 2000 on the way, which will be nice to operate with as well. And then here, we do have Hummel and Sons Furniture Company. Hummel is from my friend Michelle Hummel, who passed away in 2021 from cancer. Her and I have been really close friends. She loved trains when she was alive. And on her bucket list was to visit all the major famous railroad spots in Pennsylvania, including Horseshoe Curve, which we did. So when I went to come visit her and her family, that's what we did. So this is dedicated to her and her 2 sons. That's why it's called Hummel and Sons Company. And so there's some cosmetic work, some scenery work has been done. Next thing is probably going to be adding some lighting to these buildings, including Hummel and Sons. So there's some scenery work that's been happening here, as you can see. So talking about the track plan here, you have the trains that come around the curves here. And here we do have, to the left track, the very left, is that cassette staging out of Reading that's going to connect to Emma Junction. And here are the crossovers here to Emma and Emma. So you have trains again to change to different main lines, including the yard. So when you have trains operating in the yard, in and out of the yard, through in and out of staging, this is like the chokehold point where trains need to sit and wait for the other train to finish their work or to come through on the main line. So this is a really cool spot to rail fan along with operate. Once I have some of the switch machines installed, that will be next, along with some Caboose Industries frog juicers. So I'll be adding that. That's like the biggest goal that I need to do this next couple of months. So let's continue with the industries here in Emma. Here we have the Valley Motor Automotive Works right here, this big backdrop building. Now, there are 2 tracks back here, and so the goal is to have, so we have this track right here. This is going for the industry, for Valley Works. So it's like the whole building is off the layout. It's somewhere in the distance, but just this building is visible. And so it's pretty much you're pulling out 4 auto cars back in, you know, those 50 footers double door box cars. Probably pull them out in the string, probably 4 in, 4 out. Something simple like that. Nothing really crazy. And then in the foreground here, we do have the Emma Freight House. There are multiple companies that are in Emma Freight House, which is really cool. And so this will be a challenge for people to operate. Why? Because every 3 buildings is one company. So you have Frank's Farming Company, or farm company, or co-op, and then you have, I think, Teresa's Produce, and 2 others that I'm working on here in each end. And so each one gets about 1 or 2 box cars, including reefers. So it'll be really cool to operate that. You have to put them in the proper spots, so that becomes a challenge for operations, right? Not much work has been there, although all of Emma, the industrial park of Emma, has been wired up. The switches work. Next is just installing the Walther switch machines and also some of the frog juicers, so that way we can have some smooth operations while operating the layout. In the foreground here, there's a this beautiful building was given by my friend Roger. Now, if you've seen some of the past YouTube videos, Roger Huber is a phenomenal model railroader out in Huntsville, Arkansas, and he models the Western Maryland. And so he had this 3D printed kit that he built. This is more of a narrow gauge. I was just seeing to see if this will fit. I don't think it's going to fit what I'm doing. I do have another building that my father has scratch built, and that may go over here instead. So we'll see how this works and see what will fit, and then we'll go from there. So the next step on this section as well is the scenery work. And I've been working on the curves. The curves have a couple of kinks to them just because of the foam expanding and contracting due to the weather. And so, you know, that always happens. So the next step is really getting some of these curves to go a lot smoother. And then obviously the frog juicers and the switch machines in this area. But Emma, the industrial side of Emma is really taking shape. Again, it's really, really fun to sit there and operate. I had a few friends operate on this section of the layout. Even though it was having some frog issues, they still had a good time. So really looking forward to the next step on working on this side of the layout. So let's go to the next side. So here we have Durban Grove, and Durban Grove is named after my friend Dave, who passed away back in 2022. Actually, no, 2023, excuse me. He passed away in 2023 from cancer as well. And so this whole section is going to be dedicated to him. He was a great model railroader. He had a beautiful Union Pacific Van Buren sub layout. And so this whole section is going to be pretty much a nice arch bridge that goes across the old school Pennsylvania Railroad and Reading Railroad arch bridge. That's going to become over here. And then we're going to have a nice scenery section back here. Maybe a little waterfall tunnel on each end. So something that's really, I would guess, more Allegheny, Appalachia style. Separates the layout a little bit from the rest of the the urban scenery that I've been working on. Something that's dedicated, someplace that's peaceful. And so not much work has been over here except for working on these curves. So next step is really getting this prepared for the next open house by the end of February into March. So look forward to that as well. So there'll be some more videos happening on this side of the layout. All right, now we are on the city side of Emma, and here is Vine Street Yard. So the trains curve around and come through here. They're still going eastbound this way. This is eastbound going this way. West is going this way, right? And so we have a interchange here. Or at least wasn't interchange, but now it's just the well, interchange, I guess. Well, a connection to the rail yard to the lead track, as you can see here. Let's see what has been done. The whole yard is wired up and works. Again, just need to add some more frog juicers and some switch machines, and then we're up and rolling with actually switching the yard, which is fun. And the wiring is all the way up to the turntable, which is the D. Chagnon locomotive facility. So that's all done as well. And so the next step, like I said, is just really much wiring up the frog juicers and also installing the switch machines. And my gosh, a couple of days ago I just finished building this beautiful Walthers 3-stall roundhouse kit. It is fun. I have a video out on the channel, so you can check that out. It's a really quick video. And so the next step is probably after this video is being created, I'm going to take this diorama off, and I need to cut a little bit. I have like a 1/2 inch of space that I need in order to fit this roundhouse perfectly. So that's the next step on that. But then it's wiring it up and weathering the turntable and wiring that as well. Here we have a track for the steam engines, which is the foreground here. I mean, the background here, this back track. Foreground track is going to be for diesels. As you can see, some of the diesels are sitting here. The track has been added to the recent addition of freight and passenger diesel operations, since this is a transition era layout. I need to add a number 4 turnout here, and we're going to add another track here, so we have some more storage for diesel locomotives. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a lot of the underneath the layout needs to be done on this section. The city itself is not much has been done yet. They're still planning. I'm still planning on doing certain things for this, so stay tuned for that. That'll be another fun project this year. I'd like to get some of the buildings installed on the city. Also, I've been working on these dioramas, which is a big venture. It was a lot of fun, and so let's talk about that. But first, see that back here, I've been trying to find a way to install an elevated section. At first I wanted to make it operational, but I don't think I can do it. It was nice to have something that goes back and forth behind the city. So I think it's just going to be a stationary type of track that's pretty much dead. But I'm thinking about going through the backdrop here and on top of to the tunnel on the other side. So we have a couple of other vignette and diorama based scenes that maybe look like something that's a little different from the rest of the layout. But so that's the step there. So the next step is pretty much taking that down and seeing what I can do from there. If anybody has any suggestions, please in the comments below. I appreciate everybody's support and opinion and advice. So yeah, so let's get started and talk about, oh, I forgot about this. So let's talk about this right. So in order to make this layout operational, where I'm bringing trains on and off the layout, I had to add an extension here. So I had one more right-hand switch. So I installed this. And so this is a extension that is for trains to go all the way to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. All right, because don't forget, this is going eastbound this way. This is all eastbound. So the trick or the idea is for an operating session, trains on the cassette on the opposite side of the layout will come out of Reading staging, and they'll circle the layout a couple of times. Either they will terminate in Vine Street Yard, or they will depart Vine Street Yard, or we may need some through trains to run. So if somebody comes over and they are not experienced operators, they at least have some fun running the trains from one side of the layout to the other. And so yours truly will be pretty much the train master and putting the through trains on the cassettes and off the cassettes through an op session, while everybody else is trying to have a good time running and operating the layout and switching out the layout. So this whole section right here is brand new. I built this in about 2 hours, and it's just extra piece of 4-inch foam that connects out here. And this will be a lead to the staging for Philadelphia. As you can see, there's a train, local passenger train sitting here. Now, these red passenger cars will be repainted into green Pullmans, and we'll have the Penn-Reading Industrial Division logo on the bottom of each passenger car. So I got these, found these on a good deal on eBay. So these cars are going to be repainted, except for the brown one here. That's going to stay brown. So there'll be a mix of green and brown passenger cars. So that'll look pretty cool. So let's talk about the new stuff that's happening on these dioramas. All right, so here we go. We have these beautiful dioramas that are in the progress of being completed as we speak. As you can see here, a lot of the base scenery has been completed, and I've been having a lot of help with these. There's a lot, just was a lot of fun to build, especially when you're stuck inside due to a snowstorm. You can sit here and work on this all day long. So here's the first one. There's the second one I actually built. And if you've been following the YouTube series on building these dioramas, I appreciate it. I know it's like tedious to watch, but we're almost done with the build. But you can see here from the very beginning video to now, you can see some of the progress. And that next video on doing the scenery work is coming out soon. So stay tuned for those. The next step is going to be adding all the super trees to this, so that it's not fully done. The polyfiber is just backdrop trees. You know, there'll be other trees in the foreground, and so some of them need to be redone. And again, this could be taken off the layout to work on. So I put it up for this video so you can see how the progress and what it really looks like. Now, I did find the bridge kit to this, so the next step is going to be building this bridge that goes across the goes over the main lines. It's from it's inspired by the Union Railroad and Conrail. I think now it's CSX and Norfolk Southern. But in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, there's an over-under shot that is really famous by Penn-Trex videos, and it's a Union Railroad train going over the Conrail main line. And so I have a little inspiration by this little section right here. We're going to have my friend Johnny Quest, who is a great scratch builder. He's going to be scratch building me a coal trestle that goes over here. So that'll be fun to have. And again, we're going to be working on some more scenery work. I have some little bit of water that's been added there. And right here is going to be a hobo cam. We're going to have an old dilapidated laser kit, old passenger coach. It's going to sit here, and that's abandoned. It'll be a little hobo camp here. Mini Prince came out with a little hobo camp, a little campfire, so I'll be adding that as well right here. So a lot of more work needs to be done on these. These are not done just yet, but it's a great scenic divider that separates both sides of the layout. As you can see, separates both sides, right? So that was the idea, and that's the plan, and it's working really well. And I've been getting a lot of great feedback from these, so I really appreciate it. And also, yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. So let's talk about some of the goals for 2024 on this layout. So there are a lot of cool stuff that is going to be happening in 2024. So the first thing I would like to say is the next goal is getting to smooth out some of these curves due to the kinks from the weather and the expansion contraction from the foam. Also, I need to add the frog juicers along with the Walther switch machines. That's all going to be done in the next 6 months. That has to be done. I like to have a first practice operating session sometime this year, hopefully in the spring. And also, we'll be adding some Keep Alive to some of the locomotives from the Rice's collection. I'm also working on a video for a backstory on the Penn-Reading Industrial Division. I explain a little bit of the history to you, but there's a lot more history that I want to create and talk to you about in upcoming videos. I would like to do some more rail fanning videos, some run-by videos, some history videos. So take a little of the railroad history of the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Reading Railroad and incorporate that into the layout, into the models that I have representing those particular railroads. The next thing too is to add some more scenery work. There's obviously trees need to be added, but also I'm going to have some help with the corner right here of the layout all the way down here. I would like to get this whole section of the layout scenic and also start working on those tunnels. That whole tunnel and Dave Durban Grove, or the Durban Grove scene, I want to get those at least started and look more presentable. Also, coming up this year, I have two big clinics and interviews that are happening. I will be hosting a clinic with the NMRAX team. We'll be talking about the Penn-Reading Industrial Division layout and the one-town approach. So you can create something like this using just one town instead of multiple towns on a model railroad. Also, I have been asked by Ray Arnott, I think that's his last name, I apologize. I'm horrible with names, I'm still learning. Ray has a phenomenal podcast called Around the Layout, and he has asked me personally to be interviewed about this layout. And so the goal is to talk about my model railroading journey along with Darius's model railroading journey, and combine the two and talk about the continuation of Darius's work with this layout. So I am looking forward to both of those clinics and podcast interviews. That'll be a lot of fun. There'll be more open houses coming up soon. And so that is the goal, is to really get to a point where I can do some more operating and running videos. There hasn't been a lot just because I've been trying to get the layout operational. So that's kind of important. And you know, I mean, what's the point of having a layout if you can't run it, right? So I appreciate everybody's patience and support on this, and the encouragement has been amazing all over social media. I thank you guys so much for all of it. If you want to see day-to-day progress, I do have a Facebook page, and every Tuesday I feature a little bit of history and did you even know, like a factory, what do you call it, a little bit of facts on both railroads. So you can check that out on Tuesdays, and throughout the week I do post at least once a day on the progress of this layout. So guys, thank you so much again. God bless you all. I hope everybody has a very safe and happy 2024. Look to new things with your layouts as well, and look for more on the Penn-Reading Industrial Division. God bless and take care.